Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Peoticoat Junction.
Uncle Joe? Uncle Joe?
Vicky. I'm looking for my saw.
Oh, is that it?
Well, if that don't beat the bugs biting.
These all the shelves that you sawed for the library car?
Kate, I've been suffering something terrible with lumbago.
Oh, that's too bad. Why don't you dunk yourself in a hot bath
That's a good idea.
after you finish sawing the shelves?
Kate, it's a waste of time starting the library in the baggage car of the train.
Well, I don't consider it a waste of time making it easy for school children of this valley to get books.
Well, when I was a boy, I walked 10 miles to the library.
The last time I heard that story, it was 5 miles.
Oh, well, that time I took a shortcut.
And the time before, it was 2 miles. You know something? Your memory's getting shorter and the walk's getting longer.
Well, it don't make no difference how far I walk. The trouble with the kids today is we pamper them too much. It's no wonder so few of them grow up to be president.
Oh, Uncle Joe, if you have any complaints, you tell them to Miss Marsh tonight at supper.
Who's Miss Marsh?
The lady that's going to be running the library train.
No, thanks. I'll eat in my room. I don't intend eating supper with any frumpy, skinny old maid of a librarian.
Excuse me. Is Mrs. Bradley in?
Mrs. Bradley? Oh, Kate.
She invited me to dinner this evening. I'm Phyllis Marsh.
The frumpy, skinny old maid librarian?
I beg your pardon?
I'm Miss Bradley's niece, Joe Carson. I mean, she's my niece, Joe Carson. I'm just taking this upstairs for this sick dog. She's in the kitchen. Tell her to hold dinner for me. I gotta get cleaned up. I've been sawing shelves for the library train all day.
Well, what are some of the books you'll be putting in the library train, Miss Marsh?
Well, Billy Joe, some of the classics like Dickens, Thackeray, Stevenson, and a few of the moderns like Sherwood Anderson, Faulkner, Hemingway.
Hemingway? Him and me used to be good friends.
You knew Ernest Hemingway?
No, this is Harvey Hemingway. He ran the Hooterville barbershop before Luke Fielding took over. I think they were relatives.
You mean that your Mr. Hemingway was related to Ernest Hemingway?
No, Harvey was related to Luke. He gave him a good buy on the barbershop.
I hope you're going to have a poetry section, Miss Marsh.
Oh, yeah, I love poetry. Who can ever forget them immoral lines? The boy stood on the burning deck, eating peanuts by the peck.
Uncle Joe?
Huh?
That's not exactly poetry.
Well, it rhymes.
Coffee, Miss Marsh?
Oh, yes.
Oh, here's one of the old classics us book lovers will never forget. 'Twas a balmy summer evening, and a goodly crowd was there, which well nigh filled Joe's barroom on the corner by the square.
Train's coming.
Oh, isn't that the last train into Hooterville?
Yeah, luckily it's on time for a change. Well, if you can tear yourself away, I'll walk you down to the stop.
Well, never mind, Kate. I don't mind walking her down.
But, Uncle Joe, it's very chilly out tonight. What about your lumbago?
Lumbago? At my age? Just because Kate has some of the complaints of the elderly, she thinks everybody has.
Well, if you're sure it isn't too much trouble, Mr. Carson.
Call me Joe.
That's his name.
Thank you for dinner, Mrs.
Good night, Miss
Bradley.
Marsh.
Good night.
It's me, stupid.
I didn't recognize you either. You're all dressed up. Going someplace?
Oh, I'm just going out to take a little stroll around the property.
In your Sunday best suit?
Oh, this? Kate, would you believe it if I told you it was the first thing I found handy this morning?
No, I wouldn't.
You sure got a suspicious nature.
Oh, there's a whistle for the library train. It's making its first run this morning.
What is? Maybe I'll put off my stroll around the property and go down and see how Miss What's-Her-Name's getting along.
Miss Marsh.
Yeah, Miss Marsh.
Well, what do you know, Charlie? He brought us some flowers.
Oh, ain't that sweet. Joe, I didn't know you cared.
I don't. Give me that.
Thank you again for the lovely flowers, Mr. Carson.
Call me Joe, Miss Marsh. I just thought to decorate up the library a little on its first run.
Well, that was very, very sweet of you. Thank you. Now, how would you like to take out a library card?
Rather take out the librarian.
Well, first I'll need some information about you, Mr. Carson.
He'd rather take out the librarian. Hey, that's funny.
Now, I know your name and address, but why don't you sit down, Mr. Carson? What is your occupation?
Oh, the general manager of the Shady Rest Hotel chain.
Oh, are there more Shady Rest hotels?
Not yet. We got about a dozen in the blueprint stage. We're planning a real big one in Honolulu. That's right near Hawaii.
How does he know? He ain't never been no further than the county seat.
Now, what is your age?
Age?
Mm-hmm.
How old do you think I am?
Well, I'm not a very good judge of ages, Mr. Carson.
Well, I'm, 31. Prematurely gray due to a terrible siege of measles when a child.
He's prematurely gray due to a terrible siege of old age.
31. Well, that's all I'll need. You can take some books out now if you like.
Oh, good. I've just been waiting for this. Oh, here's one that looks like a pretty good story. Let's see. Basic elements of advanced thermodynamics.
The basic elements of advanced thermodynamics. Hey, Uncle Joe, I didn't know you were interested in thermodynamics.
Just the advanced part.
Zen Buddhism, self-taught.
It's about a fella named Zen Buddhism taught himself.
Uncle Joe, these are more books than you've read in your whole life.
That's because the library train's so handy. When I was a boy, I had to walk 40 miles for a book.
I thought you told Miss Marsh it was only 25 miles.
Miss Marsh? Is that her name? Morning, Miss Marsh.
Good morning.
Brought these back for a refill.
My goodness, Mr. Carson, you've read all those already?
Or nothing to it. I had the power reading course at the Hooterville Night School. I can do about 10 pages at a clip.
Really?
Miss Marsh,
Yes.
do you have anything on thermodynamics?
Well, you're certainly in luck. Mr. Carson just brought one back.
Oh. Yeah, here, kid. Best book on the subject I ever read.
What does it say about heat rediffusion?
Well, if I told you everything that's in the book, what good would it do you to read it? It's in the book. It's in the book. I could have told him in a minute. It's better to let them struggle through it themselves.
Oh, I agree.
Miss Marsh,
Yes,
do you have any books on fishing?
I think so. Do you like fishing?
I sure do. Miss Marsh, would you let me take you fishing sometime?
Well, I think that would be very nice.
Hey, if you like fishing, let me take you.
I asked her first.
Get back to your books, Sonny. I'll pick you up right after the library run tomorrow.
But
I'll
Mr.
say no
Carson,
more. And if you got any fishing boots, bring them. Toodaloo. Just another mile to Morgan's Creek. I'm not walking too fast for you, am I?
Oh, no, I'll keep up. Mr. Carson, are you all right?
Of course I'm all right. Why?
Well, your, insect repellent is running.
Oh, yeah, my insect repellent. No, I wouldn't think of taking a step into mosquito territory without my old black magic.
Joe?
Oh, hi, Kate. I'm on my way to play checkers with Sam Drucker.
In those clothes?
Well, you never know who you're going to meet.
No. Like an old fishing buddy.
Oh, I don't think Charlie and Floyd's going to be there.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about them. I was thinking of a younger old fishing buddy.
Like who?
Like, you know, Miss what's her name?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I run into her, I'll give you a regard.
Uncle Joe?
What?
Coolidge isn't running this year.
Joe, how much longer are you going to pace around out here waiting for that girl?
She's only 30 minutes late. If she don't show up in another 2 hours, I'm leaving.
I never saw a man lose his head in a more hopeless cause.
Sam, you just mind your pickle barrel. Leave the romancing to me.
I'll bring you out a chair around 10:30, if your legs ain't give out before then.
You got a what?
A date with Mr. Carson.
Well, break it.
Can't. Oh, he's such a sweet old man, and he's been so nice to me.
Well, for crying out loud, are we engaged or aren't we?
Well, of course we are, darling, but, well, I didn't expect you down here this weekend, and I just can't hurt his feelings. Well, he built that whole library in a cannonball for me.
Well,
Oh, come on. It won't take very long. Look, I'll call you at the rooming house just as soon as I get back, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Carson?
Oh, hi.
I'm sorry that I'm so late.
Oh, it's perfectly all right. I just got here myself.
Well, something unexpected has come up, and, well, I'm afraid that I won't be able to spend too much time with you.
Oh. Well, why don't we go in and wet our whistles anyway? Good. A treat's on me. There's a cooler right over there. Well, let's see. See, there's ginger ale, birch beer, cherry.
Joe, when you close the cooler, all the ice is melting.
As soon as we pick our sodas, these local storekeepers. There's root beer, lime, lemon, strawberry,
Oh,
cream.
strawberry. That'll be fine.
I like strawberry, too. You open those, please, for us, storekeeper?
You drinking strawberry, Joe? You know it's murder on your gallbladder.
When I want medical advice, I'll go to the vet.
All right, it's your gallbladder. How do you like our town, Miss Marsh?
Oh, I think it's charming.
Ain't changed a bit in 50 years, has it, Joe?
I wouldn't know. I was just a little boy when you got here.
You were just...
Straws, please, storekeeper. You may think Hooterville's charming, but it sure don't hold a candle to Honolulu.
Oh, you've been there?
Well, not yet, but I'm going to manage the Honolulu Shady Rest as soon as it's built. And Honolulu is a wonderful place for a honeymoon.
Mr. Carson, are you planning on getting married?
Oh, I might just pop the question any minute.
You just might pop your gallbladder drinking this stuff.
Old Sam here always worrying about me, just like my father. In fact, he's old enough to be my father.
Old enough?
How much are these?
That'll be 10 cents, Sonny, and you don't have to give me a tip.
Could I talk to you for a minute, Sam? You excuse us, please?
Yes.
I got a hole in my pocket.
Not as big as the one you got in your head.
What's a dime on my account?
You got no account. In fact, you are no account.
I'm just trying to make a good impression.
Well, you're not getting through to me at all.
Mr. Carson, did you lose this dime?
Oh, yeah. There you are, my good man. If I need anything else, I'll call you. Pardon me for the interruption. Old Sam here's always asking me for financial advice. Shall we drink these outside, where the flies aren't so bad?
Thank you for a very pleasant evening, Mr. Carson. Good night.
Miss Marsh,
Yes, Mr. Carson?
I wonder if you... Forget it. Miss Marsh, you notice the moon?
Oh, yes, it's beautiful.
You know what a moon like that means?
No.
Well, it means, means it ain't gonna rain tomorrow.
That's good to know.
Night.
Mr. Carson. Good night.
Take my money, but don't shoot. Okay.
Uncle Joe, I never thought the day'd come when I'd have to wait up for you.
When are you gonna stop treating me like a little kid?
When you stop acting like one. Uncle Joe, you're too old for this sort of thing.
Old? I'm only 31.
31?
If you don't believe it, just look at my library card.
And Joe bought her a strawberry soda.
Strawberry soda. No wonder he was up with his gallbladder all night.
There's no fool like an old fool. And he's one of the oldest fools there ain't one like. You know where he went? Into Pixley to buy her a bottle of French toilet water. Oh, hi, Miss Marsh.
Mrs. Bradley. Oh, I'm so glad to see you here because I've wanted to have a talk with you.
Yes, and I think I know what about.
Mrs. Bradley, I'd like to present my fiancé, Hal Jackson.
Well, I'm very pleased. Fiancé?
That's right. Phyllis and I have been engaged for nearly 6 months.
And Uncle Joe doesn't know about it.
I haven't had the heart to tell him.
Well, somebody ought to tell him or he's going to be stuck with a bottle of French toilet water.
Oh, Mrs. Bradley, what are we going to do? He's such a sweet old gentleman.
Yes, well, we'll just have to find a way to let him down easy.
Kate!
Oh, hi, Uncle Joe. This is Hal Jackson. Oh, I don't know if I can go through with this.
We have to, especially since it was your idea.
Who's that nincompoop in there with your mother?
Oh, Uncle Joe, isn't it exciting? He came over to fix the well pump this morning, and Mom took one look at him and just flipped.
Is she out of her mind? Well, that boy's at least, well, he's a lot younger than she is.
Oh, but when you're in love, what difference does age make?
Well, it don't make no difference if you're a man, but with a woman, it's ridiculous.
Oh, Uncle Joe, would you mind helping the girls with the dishes tonight? I got a date.
With that juvenile delinquent?
If you're referring to my steady beau, Hal Jackson, yes. So would you mind helping out in the kitchen? I gotta get dressed.
I can't. I've got a date, too. And would you mind letting me have the bathroom first? See you later, sweet potato.
Oh, Mom, you look elegant.
Oh, you sure do.
Kate, have you lost your mind? They wouldn't even let you in a swimming pool wearing a dress that tight.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I think Billy Joe's dress looks very nice on me.
You wouldn't even let Billy Joe wear that dress.
Uncle Joe, it doesn't matter what you think, as long as Hal likes it.
Hal, at his age, he ought to be home working on his hot rod.
Hiya, baby doll. Say, you look terrific.
Hal.
Oh, what a night, what a night. You know, that old moon's hanging up there like an invitation to romance.
Well, what are we waiting for, honey pot? Let's wiggle on down to Spoon and Rock.
You said it, baby. See you later, old tomato.
Yeah, old tomato.
Ain't that the most disgusting sight you ever seen?
Oh, I think it's cute.
Cute? Your mother leaping around out there in the moonlight with that adolescent?
Mom's old enough to know her own mind. Hey, you better get going. You're gonna be late for your date.
I ain't going. Somebody with a mature head on their shoulders got to keep an eye on your mother.
Here he comes. You ready?
Ready.
Oh, Hal, being here with you is sheer heaven.
Oh, Kate, my love, I want to be here with you forever.
And I want to be here forever with you, too. Hold me tight.
Oh, Kate, I never want to let you go.
And I never want to let you go either. Let's forget everything and run away to Mexico, Tahiti, Honolulu.
Unhand that woman. If anybody's going to Honolulu, it's going to be me.
Why, Uncle Joe, I thought you were in Hooterville.
Well, it's lucky for you I weren't. Stand back, woman. Get up. I'm going to thrash you, you young whippersnapper, within an inch of your life.
Well, we could control your temper, Uncle Joe. Don't hurt him. Let's talk it over.
Talk it over my foot. Sick him. Sick him. Not me, stupid. Him.
Anyway. Is that you, Halsey Walsey?
No, it's me, Josie Wosie. You can stop that juvenile love talk. You're still Kate Bradley and the mother of three.
Hi, Uncle Joe. What's come over you?
Sit down, Kate. I want to talk to you. What I say you ain't gonna like.
What?
This morning, I introduced that great lover of yours to one of the most fickle girls I've ever met.
Phyllis Marsh? Well, why would you ever introduce her to Hal?
You were making such a fool of yourself over him. To save you, I sacrificed the greatest love a man ever had.
Oh.
Kate, it was sickening. They was a-kissing each other before I'd finished the introduction. It's gonna hurt for a while, but it was the only way I could figure out to bring you to your senses.
Thank you, Uncle Joe. Making such a great sacrifice just to save me from my foolishness.
That's okay, Kate. Here. Maybe this'll help console you.
Oh. Oh. Just what I've always wanted. A bottle of French toilet water.
Junction. This has been a Filmways presentation.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Petticoat Junction.
Joe, would you stand up straight so I can get this hem even?
Mom, don't you think it's a little too long? They're wearing them much higher this year.
Well, one year they're wearing them higher, and the next year they're wearing them lower. I leave mine the same way. Every other season I'm in style. Saves wear and tear on the material. You know, it's mighty quiet down in the lobby.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Strange. Usually when Uncle Joe, Sam, Charlie, and Floyd get together for poker, you can hear Uncle Joe arguing and hollering all over the hotel.
Well, maybe Uncle Joe's winning.
No, then the other three'd be hollering. What's going on down there?
Now, Sam, as chief of the Umpquaws, you sign the treaty first.
Then can we play poker?
Sign the treaty.
Well, there's nothing writ on here.
That don't matter. It's just a reenactment.
Well, I like to know what I'm signing.
Sign it. And hold your Tommyhawk up higher. Now, you pass the treaty to Charlie, and he signs it.
I sign my own name?
No. You're supposed to be Delbert Baldwin, the first president of the CNFW Railroad. Now, while he's signing it, you light the pipe of peace. Don't put the Tommyhawk down.
Well, I need both hands to light the pipe.
How do you spell Baldwin?
B-A-L-D-W-I-N.
Or this thing won't work, Joe. Can't I use a match?
The Indians didn't have no matches.
Well, they didn't have no ballpoint pens, neither.
Okay, for now you can use a match.
How do you spell Delbert?
D-E... Just sign it D. Baldwin.
Ooh, what kind of tobacco is this?
Smells like burning radish tops.
You know, I think Delbert's right. It does smell
Will
just...
you hold up your Tommyhawk?
Need any more radish tops for the pipe, Joe?
That does it.
What's that awful smell?
Sam's smoking radish tops.
Sam is smoking What's going on here?
Evening, Kate.
Evening, fellas, but what...
We're rehearsing the reenactment of the signing of the treaty between the Umpqua Indians and the CNFW Railroad.
Treaty? I don't think I ever heard of it.
Well, it's a matter of documented historical fact. The Indians signed over a piece of land near Dead Man's Curve for the right-of-way of the cannonball.
Oh, you mean you found it written in a history book?
No, he saw it in one of those cards that came packed in the carton with these plastic tomahawks he got stuck with.
I didn't get stuck with them.
You've still got them after 3 years.
If that ain't stuck, I don't know sticking.
The sooner you fellas learn your parts, the sooner Kate can start raking in the money.
Wait a minute. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but what's all this got to do with booting me into the upper brackets?
Kate, what are the two things that all people hunger after? To see the reenactment of a historical event and to eat fried chicken.
From such simple beginnings have come your biggest flops.
You realize how many hundreds of history-hungry folks are going to flock here to see the reenactment?
No, how many?
Thousands. And after they've seen the reenactment, there'll be duck soup for a chicken dinner. At 2.5 a head, with dessert and coffee and one of my treaty-signing Tommyhawks thrown in.
Do you mind if I ask one teeny-weeny little question?
Sure. What is it?
Why was Sam smoking radish tops?
Kate, if you ain't going to be serious, we might as well forget the whole thing.
That's the first sensible thing you said since I got here.
Hush up. Kate, I guess the best way is to show you what's going to happen the day of the ceremony. Now, the lobby is packed. The chicken's frying. The people are milling about, And I hold up both hands for silence.
Only one making any noise in here is you.
Then we go ahead with the reenactment. Charlie here speaks the lines which I writ for him.
No, it's my turn. Ugh, me great Umpqua chief of great Umpqua tribe. Me gathered here today to welcome you with upraised tomahawk, which we give 'em away free to all who sign up for chicken dinner at end of ceremony.
You think it's a good idea to start the ceremony with a commercial?
Please, Kate. Okay, Charlie.
I am D. Baldwin, first president of the CNFW Railroad, and I am here to purchase the land from you Indians, which we would like to run over with our train.
Kate, now you'll see the exact signing of the... Kate? What happened to Kate?
She turned green and run in the kitchen.
All right, Chief, I'm ready to go.
Good. Bedlow, I don't know of another man in our organization who possesses your unique qualifications. You're mean, conniving, relentless, sneaky, hard-hearted, underhanded, and unscrupulous. In other words, you are a first-class fink.
Well, thank you, Chief. It's nice to know that I'm appreciated.
But that's why I don't understand why you've done this terrible thing to me. Why, Chief, why?
Well, what have I done? Appointed you to preside at the annual stockholders' meeting in my absence.
Yes, but holding the meeting at the Shady Rest Hotel had shaken my faith in voodoo. After all those pins I stuck into my Kate Bradley doll.
When I first mentioned the idea, I could see your beady little eyes light up like a firebug at a 12-alarm fire. I could see the wheels grinding in your crooked little brain, picturing how you were going to bulldoze the stockholders into voting my favorite little train, the Hooterville Cannonball, out of existence, thereby ruining the lives of everybody in that happy little valley and driving Kate Bradley into bankruptcy.
I must admit the happy thought did flit through my mind.
Like a bat through a damn cave.
But it seemed like you'd played right into my hands. After all, if those stockholders rode on that liver-shaking bucket of bolts to the meeting at the Shady Rest, wouldn't take them 3 seconds to blackball it into oblivion. And they would have.
If I hadn't arranged to hold a meeting after lunch.
Oh, after one of Kate Bradley's famous chicken dinners, with corn on the cob, hot biscuits, home-churned butter, and apple pie, you couldn't get the Republicans to vote the Democrats out of existence. Or vice versa.
Yeah, well, you better leave. You'll miss your train. And I'm sorry I had to sink to your level, Bedlow.
You sank below my level. If you don't mind my saying so, Chief, you are the sneakiest, most underhanded, dirty, pool-playing rat I've ever run up against.
Well, coming from you, Bedlow, that's like getting the Nobel Prize.
Sleeping, huh? This is one time you won't beat me announcing the train. Kate.
Yes, Uncle Joe.
I thought you'd like to know.
I guess the train's in. Now, what were you going to say?
Nothing. One of these days, you and me's gonna meet head on. Guess who's gonna back down?
Look what the Cannonball's doing here. Floyd and Charlie don't usually make their 2 o'clock stop here until 3:10. What time is it?
1:30.
I don't like it. I got a premonition of trouble.
What's that dog barking at?
From the tone of his bark, it's either a cat or a skunk.
Help! Help! Now get away!
It's a skunk.
Bedlow, Kate, when you get a premonition, you don't fool around. Where are you going?
To call off the dog.
What's the hurry? Why not have lunch first?
Get away from me, Lloyd! Mrs. Bradley, that's a vicious animal.
Yes. What a very good judge of character.
What dirty low-down scheme brought you here this time, Bedlow?
Nothing, I'm sorry to say. I'm here to discuss some legitimate business.
Yeah, well, let's do it out here. Save airing out the lobby.
Now, Joe, don't make rude remarks to Mr. Bedlow until he says his piece. And then you can make your rude remarks.
Mrs. Bradley, I am instructed to make a deal with you for the Shady Rest Hotel for the annual CNFW stockholders meeting. You'll be required to serve lunch. Based on previous turnouts, I should expect about 75 people. I'm prepared to pay you, $2 a person.
Oh, well, if you're prepared to pay $2, that means you've been authorized to offer $4.
I'll give you $3.
$3.50.
Make it $3.75, and they'll throw in a genuine Indian Tomahawk with every lunch.
What?
Uncle Joe, I don't think that Mr. Bedlow's interested in tomahawks unless he's sinking them in our skulls.
Well, he ought to be. It's his railroad the Indians signed the treaty with.
Treaty? What treaty?
Yeah, where the Umpqua gave a hunk of right-of-way for the cannonball.
I never heard of any such treaty.
Well, it's a documented historical fact. And since your meeting coincides with the anniversary of the signing of the treaty, you ought to make it an event folks would remember.
Just because you're stuck with this junk, don't try to palm it off on me.
Where does everybody get the idea I got stuck with these?
My final offer is $3.50 without the Tomahawk. That comes to approximately $265.
Mr. Bedlow, knowing you from past sad experience, my instincts say pass it up.
Kate.
But my bank account says grab it.
Here's a check from the company to bind the deal.
It looks all right to me.
Yes, it does. That's what worries me.
Mrs. Bradley, I am humiliated to tell you that I had tried to figure out some underhanded way I could turn this transaction into a catastrophe for you, but unfortunately I've failed.
But you'll keep trying.
Scout's honor. Mr. Bradley. Mr. Carson?
Did you say that was the Umpqua tribe?
Bedlow said to me, I don't know of another man in our organization who's as mean, conniving, and underhanded as you are. Evans, you don't know what that means to me, to hear those words from the lips of our leader. Now, let me have that report of yours again.
Well, I looked through the files, sir, and I found a photostat of the Umpqua Treaty. The Indians never signed it.
Wait a minute. That means for the past 65 years, the cannonballs were running on land still owned by the Umpquas.
I'm afraid so, sir.
Well, don't look so sad about it. How much land's involved?
It's a 10-foot strip near the section known as Dead Man's Curve, right about here.
You know, Evans, if some sneaky, underhanded individual was to tell the Umpquas about this, they'd probably want their land back. And that'd be the end of that antiquated piece of kindling wood known as the Shady Rest Hotel.
Mom, do we have to do all these?
Well, of course you do. They've been stored away for years.
Well, why don't we just use paper plates?
Because at $3.50 apiece, people are entitled to eat on good china.
You mean like this one?
Oh, Bobby Joe, be careful of that. Your father got me that on our honeymoon.
I didn't know you went to Niagara Falls.
We didn't. We went to Pixley. The movie theater there gave them away on dish night. They gave away a different dish every week. Pikes Peak, Yellowstone Park, Grand Canyon, and 2 of San Francisco, before it shook and after. But we only got the one, Niagara Falls.
Why?
Well, because there was no point in going every week. They changed the dishes, but not the picture.
Oh, Mom, you're just putting us on.
No, I'm not. Oh, I can remember that picture like it was yesterday. The Revenge of the Redskins, starring Monty Blue.
Gee, that sounds like an exciting picture. Why don't you tell us the story while you do the dishes?
Well, you see, it was all about this company for just a second. You trying to put me on? You girls wash the dishes. I got to figure out what I'm going to feed those stockholders.
But, Mom, I have a date.
With the dishes. You wash, you dry, you stack.
7 o'clock. You know it took more than 3 hours to order all this stuff.
Takes a lot of groceries to feed 75 people. It was nice of Sam to stretch our credit for all this.
You gave him that deposit check you got from Bedlow, didn't you?
Yeah, that didn't even make a dent in the bill. Uncle Joe, you don't suppose that Homer Bedlow cooked up this story about the stockholders just so I'd order all this stuff and then be stuck paying for it?
Okay, the deal I negotiated with Bedlow was foolproof. Now, the only thing you got to worry about is if you got enough supplies.
That's the least of my worries.
I don't know. Do you think 40 chickens is enough for 75 people?
I ain't heard so much cackling on this train since the Ladies' Aid Society had their annual excursion to Pixley.
Oh, one of the stockholders' chickens laid you a dividend.
Get yourself killed. Get that tent off the tracks.
We no move.
Now, wait a minute here. Now, let's talk this over.
Well, what's going on here?
Wait a minute, Kate. You better let me handle this. I know the lingo. How? How? I guess he speaks a different dialect.
You fellas sure picked a mighty dangerous spot to set up housekeeping.
Yeah, you better move your teepee. That's an Indian word.
We no move.
But you're blocking the train.
The Iron Horse, no pass.
You're trespassing. That wigwam's smack dab in the middle of our track.
Track smack dab on top our land. This belong Umpqua.
No, it don't. Don't you fellers ever read the treaties you signed?
Umpqua never signed treaty. This land still belong us.
Ungrammatical, but true.
Homer Bedloe. I told you, Uncle Joe, I had an uneasy feeling something was going to go wrong.
Mr. Carson, I owe you a debt of thanks.
Me? What did I do?
Well, if you hadn't mentioned the treaty, I wouldn't have thought to check our files and discover that our good friends still own this 10-foot strip of right-of-way.
Well, I didn't mention it for that reason. I mentioned it relative to being stuck with them Tommyhawks.
And that isn't all we're stuck with. All that food for the stockholders' meeting. Corn, flour, 40 chickens.
31. I didn't get the windows on the coach closed quick enough.
Don't go to waste, Mrs. Bradley. The meeting will still go on at the Shady Rest Hotel.
You mean they'll let the train go through?
My dear Mrs. Bradley, don't you think we've imposed upon these patient savages enough by wrongfully using their land for all these years? Why, if they wanted to, they could probably sue the railroad for several $1 million.
Then why don't they?
Because they were impressed with my honesty in coming to them and revealing the treaty was never signed. They'll be satisfied as long as they now have their land back.
Back up the train, Charlie. Maybe Sam will take some of the groceries back.
Mrs. Bradley, I told you the meeting will go on as scheduled.
Yes, but if the train only goes this far, what are the stockholders going to do? Walk the 15 miles to the Shady Rest?
Precisely. And after that long, dusty hike, they'll be sitting down picking at that beautiful luncheon that you prepared for them, hardly able to wait till they get down to business and vote the cannonball out of existence.
Why, you no-good sneaking varmint.
I'd rather be called by the name my Indian friends have honored me with, Snake in the Grass.
Young brave, have heap big trouble, light 'em fire?
Pop, will you stop bugging me with that phony dialect? Got a match?
My son, the Indian. To think that I, Fleet Eagle, the last great Umpqua chief, could have fathered such a nudnik. Why did I let you get me into this deal?
Pop, it's the only way Bedloe would give us the exclusive franchise to sell Indian souvenirs in the CNFW's railroad station.
Homer Bedloe, Snake in the Grass. Hey, wait till I tell your Uncle Louie you gave away his name.
Pop, we need that franchise. We are stuck with the biggest inventory of Indian souvenirs in the history of the tribe. Blankets, pottery, jewelry. If we don't find an outlet, we're all going to end up back on a reservation doing beadwork.
I don't trust Bedloe. Paleface, speak with forked tongue.
How many times do I have to tell you? Indians don't talk that way.
And Indians don't act this way. Listen, son, I grew up in this valley. I like the little train. And I don't like what we're doing.
Pop, when it comes to making a buck, you gotta forget sentiment.
Is this what they taught you at the Harvard School of Business?
Oh, Mom, are we going to have to get up this early every morning to get to school now?
Yes, you are. And Billy Joe better stop primping. You got a long walk to the county road to catch the bus.
Won't hurt him. When I was a boy, I walked to school every day.
How far?
Across the road.
Mom, looks like that awful Mr. Bedloe finally won. Sure looks that way.
Well, I hate to admit it, but I agree.
Them Indians will be off the track by noon today.
What makes you think so?
I've got an idea. Back on your 10-foot reservation.
We just want to go to town, buy food.
You want food, you grow it on your own land.
But... Yeah, you wanted it. Now you got it. Stay on it.
What now, man of big business?
They can't stop me from buying food.
Let me remind you, they have guns.
Well, so have we.
But theirs are not made out of plastic.
We brought you a snack from the Hooterville Diner.
Hey, what you got?
Oh, hamburgers, roast beef sandwiches, potato salad, boysenberry pie.
And 4 different flavors of soda pop.
Mom, where are you?
What's the matter?
Uncle Joe's torturing the Indians.
Oh, well, that's nice.
What? We just rode down there on the hand car. Uncle Joe and Mr. Drucker and Charlie and Floyd have them surrounded. They won't let them off the tracks. And the poor Indians are starving. And Uncle Joe and Mr. Drucker are standing there eating hamburgers right under their noses. It's the most horrible thing you ever saw in your whole life, Mom.
We'll soon put a stop to that.
What are we going to do?
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give those poor men some food.
Kate, you're going to spoil everything. We had them just about to the point where they was going to let the cannonball through.
Uncle Joe, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And you too, Sam Drucker.
Well, we didn't have no choice, Kate. The whole future of this valley is being fought out right here on these moth-eaten railroad ties.
Well, there must be some other way to settle this than acting like inhuman beings.
Come on in. 10 isn't locked.
I brought you some food. There's plates in there.
I'll eat them later.
Madam, forgive my son. He really had good manners before he went to Harvard.
May I fix you a plate?
If you please.
Here we go.
Thank you very much. It is more than we deserve for all the trouble we've caused you.
Ma'am, if we don't cooperate with Bedloe, the tribe will go into bankruptcy. Can I have another chicken leg?
Right there, good.
Thank you.
Where did you get this plate, Mrs. Bradley?
Niagara Falls? Oh, at the Pixley Theater years ago.
I got one, too.
Did you see Revenge of the Redskin?
5 times.
Well, you must have sat through the whole set of dishes. Isn't this a small world?
If I remember correctly, those were the exact words that Monty Blue spoke as he and the government man rode out into the sunset at the end of the picture.
Yeah. I wish this problem could be settled as easily as Monty Blue did it.
Yes.
Wait a second. Why can't it?
Genuine treaty signing Tommyhawks right here.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir. How many, sir?
Oh, no thanks. All I wanted to say was that I hope we have our meeting here every year.
I ain't so sure we want to cater to another crowd of non-Tommyhawk buyers.
Answer remains the same as in last 5 telegrams. Yes, there is such a law on the books. Wilson and Price, attorneys at law.
Are you convinced now or you want to send another telegram?
Yes, Mrs. Bradley, I admit defeat. The cannonball will continue to run.
And, the Umpquaws?
They'll get their franchise to sell the souvenirs in our station.
Would you mind speaking up?
They'll get their franchise to sell the souvenirs.
Ah. And, what about all those tomahawks that Uncle Joe stuck with?
Oh, Mrs. Bradley, enough is enough. You know, I can't believe that the government would send a man to prison for 15 years merely because he tried to coerce the Indians into doing his dirty work.
Would you care to put it to a test?
Who ever heard of such a law?
The fellow who wrote The Revenge of the Redskins. You see, there was this big corporation using the Indians to put Monty Blue out of business. So what he did
please,
was...
Mrs. Bradley, don't make me listen to that corny plot again.
Where are you going?
Up to my room to sulk.
Mr. Bedloe, you forgot the other part of our bargain. There they are, Mr. Bedlow.
It's going to take me a week to do all those dishes.
Oh, well, you take your choice, Homer. A week at the Shady Rest or 15 years in jail.
All right. Where's the dish rag?
Right here. I'll do this one myself.
Why?
Peoticoat Junction. This has been a Filmways presentation.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Peoticoat Junction.
I'm waiting for the hammer.
I'm doing the best I can. Here.
Crying out loud.
Tacking up a sign or knocking down the depot?
Very funny, Mr. Winslow.
Have fun. Vote at 12:01. Hot ziggity!
What's the matter? Don't you have poetry at Crabwell Corners?
They don't have anything at Crabwell Corners, and that's why he came over here, to see what a real civilized town looks like.
I'm not here because I want to be. My father made me drive him over so he could make a few election bets at the barber shop.
Marbles, chalk, or bottle caps?
He is giving 2-1 that Crabwell Corners gets its returns to the state capitol before you do.
Doesn't he know we've beaten Crabwell Corners in every other city in this state 20 years in a row?
Well, what do we care if his father wants to throw away his money?
Yeah. Come on, let's finish this.
Now, what are we going to do about that?
Move the poster up higher.
Watch your fingers.
God.
Anything else I can do to help?
Yeah. Get lost.
I'll see you when we drive over to collect our winnings.
In that case, we'll never see you again. Move it up some more. Where did that one come from?
Oh, that's left over from the last election.
Baking powder, sugar, coffee. Is that all, Kate?
No, there were a couple of other things I needed. Let me see. I know what it was. A jar of cucumber pickles.
Cucumber pickles.
Well, there's something else I need, and I can't remember what it was for the life of me.
Salt?
No.
Cornstarch? Flour?
No.
Hey, Sam.
Tub of lard?
Guess who's in town?
Rock Hudson.
Pip Winslow.
That's a big letdown.
Yeah, he's over at the barber shop right now.
What's the matter? Ain't there a barber shop in Crabwell Corners?
No, he ain't over there to get a haircut. He's making bets on the election. He's laying 2-1 that Crabwell Corners get their returns in first. And you know why he's so confident?
They got an automatic voting machine.
They got an automatic... Who told you?
I read it in the paper.
I didn't see it.
It was right under the help wanted ads.
Well, if we've got to compete against the voting machine, we've got to speed up our voting procedure. In the first place, we'll double ink the ink pad so that we won't have to pound it so much to get ink on the stamp. Then we'll...
Joe, who put you in charge of election arrangements?
Well, there ought to be no question about me being in charge. I do all the work.
You do all the...
Who gets all the signs printed reminding the folks to vote early?
Sam does.
Well, who sees the polling places open at midnight?
Sam does.
Well, he don't roust out the voters and see if they're in line by midnight.
No. High school kids do that.
I suppose they bring all the outlying voters into town to vote.
Floyd and Charlie do. But you keep on working at it, Uncle Joe, and you'll think of something you do.
Well, I can tell you one thing he does. He gloms on to all the credit.
When it comes to humility, I ain't got no equal.
That goes for bragging, too. You see these? These are newspaper clippings from the County Sentinel for the past 20 years. Hey, 1946. Joe Carson, genial manager of the Shady Rest Hotel, led Hooterville's voters to the polls last night. In 1948, braving the bitter cold, genial, warm-blooded Joe Carson, manager of the Shady Rest Hotel, herded shivering Hooterville citizens to another victory.
1949. Joe Carson, genial and heroic manager of the Shady Rest Hotel, carried a woman across a swollen stream so's Hooterville could get in its vote first. 1949. Wasn't that the year we had the big drought?
Yeah. The only thing that was swole that year was Joe's head, as usual, hogging all the credit.
All I did was call up the county paper and give them the facts as I saw them.
And as you saw them, nobody else was worth mentioning.
I could have mentioned everybody.
Then why didn't you?
Because it was a long-distance call and I didn't want to run up a big bill on your phone.
Oh, well... My phone? You mean you charged all that limelight hogging to me?
Here's your hammer, Mr. Drucker.
Oh, I wouldn't put a thing like this in Sam's hand at this particular moment. The chair declares that the every other Wednesday afternoon discussion club is now in session. Would any of you like to hear the minutes from the last meeting, taken down in shorthand by my daughter Billy Jo and typed up real neat?
No.
Would you mind putting that in the form of a motion less likely to make me lose my temper?
I make a motion we dispense with reading of the minute.
Which were taken down in shorthand by my daughter Billy Jo and typed up real neat. All those in favor, raise your hands. So ordered. Now, ladies, we're meeting today to decide about the refreshments we're going to serve after the voting.
I don't see why we have to serve anything.
The voters have come to expect it. Now, Doris, last year you and Fred donated a ham. Can we count on that again?
Fred's smoking the finest one on our pig farm.
Good. Amelia will whip up some of her special baked beans, and I'll make the apple pies. Now, have I forgotten anything?
My donuts.
Oh, didn't I mention them?
You did not.
At the meeting after the election last year, we voted to suspend your donuts.
I wasn't at that meeting. Kate Bradley, you railroaded that through when I wasn't here just so's my donuts wouldn't compete with your apple pies.
That isn't true.
You can't stand to have anybody oh and ah over anything except your soggy pies.
Selma, you sit down. You're asking for the truth, and you're going to get it. The reason your donuts were voted out was because there were so many complaints about them causing indigestion and insomnia.
That's not so, Kate Bradley.
If you don't believe me, ask Doc Stewart to show you the records of the house calls he made the day after election.
Well, that's all the appreciation I get from this community. I don't see any point in getting out of a warm bed in the middle of the night just to stand in line to cast my vote. I'll vote at a respectable hour, like 4 in the afternoon.
But, Selma, Crabwell Corners will beat us, and that'll ruin the whole 20-year record.
Maybe it'll wake folks up to the fact that all these vote-early shenanigans are nothing more than a scheme to get free advertising for a certain party's hotel.
Would you care to say who you mean by a certain party's hotel? And what free advertising am I getting?
After every election, all the County Sentinel mentions is how the voters were organized by the manager of the Shady Rest Hotel. They never mention the fact I make donuts.
You ought to thank them for that. Doris. Selma, it might look that way in the paper, but anybody who knows Uncle Joe...
Knows he does what you tell him. You put him up the whole thing, exploiting the election for your own free advertising ends. It's time the voters got the wool out of their eyes.
Mrs. Bradley continued. As far as I'm concerned, Selma Plout, you can bake a whole slew of those donuts, eat them yourself, and then go jump in the lake and see if you come up. Meeting adjourned.
Well, maybe funny to us now, but I'm afraid Selma's going to have the last laugh. If she doesn't get up at midnight to vote, Crabwell Corners is going to beat us even without a voting machine.
If Crabwell Corners wins, that Tad Winslow is really going to be unbearable.
Oh, I don't care about Tad Winslow. The worst thing is that if Crabwell Corners does beat us, Hooterville's going to have to go back to being just a plain, ordinary town.
Doggone it, it's a shame letting her spoil a 20-year record.
Well, we may not be first, but at least we can get everybody to vote.
Well, if they read their mail, they won't forget to vote. Vote for Hoosiers, don't vote for Hoosiers, what to vote for and what not to vote for, and what the heck is this? Hooterville Chamber of Commerce. We don't have a Chamber of Commerce. I ain't got enough to do. Now I gotta mail this back. Now, where the heck is my there ain't no such party at this here address stamp? Get your hands off that. That's U.S. mail. You could get 10 years for tampering with it.
I wasn't tampering with it. I just wanted to see who it was from.
Well, it's none of your business who it's from.
Well, you told me who it was for.
Well, that's different because there ain't no such party as a Hooterville Chamber of Commerce.
Office of the Governor, State Capitol Building.
Yeah, that looks pretty official.
Hey, how come she's allowed to read it and I ain't?
Because I like her and I don't like you.
Looks mighty important, Sam. Can't you open it?
Oh, no. Sorry, Kate. That's against regulations.
What's more important, some stupid regulation or what's in the governor's letter?
The only one who can open this letter is the Hooterville Chamber of Commerce.
But we ain't got one.
Well, you can always form one.
Now, all in favor of forming a Chamber of Commerce, say aye.
Just a second, Joe. Are you sure this ain't going to cost us nothing?
I told you it wasn't.
Yeah. All right. Aye.
How about you, Floyd? You in favor?
Well, I'd like to study on this for a little while.
Why?
I don't know if there's enough commerce in Hooterville so's we need a chamber.
Maybe if we had a chamber, we could drum up some commerce, huh?
Yeah, maybe we could. Okay, I vote aye.
Good. I now declare the Hooterville Chamber of Commerce in business. Postmaster?
Yeah?
You got any mail for the Hooterville Chamber of Commerce? As the governor of this great state,
You ain't governor.
He's just reading what it says in the letter that come to us Chamberses of Commerces.
Just so's he knows he ain't put nothing over on us.
Will you shut up? As the governor of this great state, I would like to commend the citizens of Hooterville on the wonderful record they have maintained during the last 20 election years. It's about time somebody took notice of the things I've done for Hooterville.
Besides hogging all the credit, what have you done?
Well, for one thing, I formed the first Chamber of Commerce.
Well, he did.
Thanks, Kate. Knowing full well that once again Hooterville will be first in the state with its vote, I am sending a bill to the legislature citing your city for setting a splendid example of good citizenship.
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? Can he send us a bill just 'cause we've been good citizens?
No, Floyd. It isn't that kind of a bill. You see, he'll send the bill to the legislature.
And they're gonna make us pay it?
No, they... Forget it, Floyd.
The governor better forget it, too, since we ain't gonna be first again this year.
I bet Selma wouldn't have been so upset if her name had been in the paper.
Say that again.
Say what again?
What you just said.
Oh, say what again?
Floyd.
Well, that's what I said.
Floyd, I think you've given me the glimmer of an idea.
Glad to do it, Kate. And you're always saying I'm stupid.
What did you have in mind, Kate?
Well, I think that we can put this newly formed Chamber of Commerce to work.
How do I look, Sam?
Well, Selma, you better move over a bit so I get a little contrast between you and that sack of potatoes. Yeah, perfect. Now, Floyd, you hand her the scroll, and Charlie, you make the presentation speech. And while you're talking, I'll snap it.
On behalf of the Hooterville Chamber of Commerce, we present you, Selma Plout, with this scroll, naming you the Voter of the Year for your unstinting help and for donating your time and your donuts to getting the Hooterville vote out first.
Including the upcoming election.
It ain't right, Charlie and Floyd getting their pictures took and hogging all the publicity.
Look, Uncle Joe, this was the only way we could bamboozle Selma out of her sulk. Now, if you want to undo all this just because you want your picture in the paper, I'm sure the town will be glad to accommodate you. Just remember one thing. Keep your face to the camera so we'll see who's smiling at us through the tar and feathers.
Mom, I'm just about through. What do you want me to do next?
Get another basket of apples and peel them. Takes a lot of apples to make 12 pies.
Mom, I can't find the pie tins.
Well, that's strange. Had a dozen of them.
Well, I guess if there's no pie tins, I don't have to peel any more apples.
Stay where you are, Billy Joe. I'll find them. What's this? I thought I told you to hide your bones out in the backyard. I wonder where they can be. Must be in here. How many of these did you hide? This goes in the backyard, too.
Ain't the pies baked yet?
I can't find my pie tins.
Women are just no good for organizing. In the past hour, I have dressed, ironed the ribbon on my badge, drawn a map of the valley for the places where Charlie and Floyd's to pick up the voters, and packed the noisemakers for the block captains.
What noisemakers?
Oh, something new I ordered this year. Last year, the captains had a lot of trouble waking up the heavy sleepers. This year, we're equipping them with New Year's Eve horns to blow and ratchets to whirl.
And 12 of my pie tins to bang on. Go get them.
The cave.
Go get them.
Look what you've done. Curled my ribbon.
You girls sure outdid yourself this year.
No nibbling until after you voted.
Well, I got a friend on the election board.
Who?
You.
Selma bring her donuts in yet? No. Maybe she dropped one on her foot and broke it.
Good evening, everybody. See my picture in the paper? Hooterville's Voter of the Year.
Big as life.
And twice as ugly.
Well, Sam, help me carry these pies over, huh? Well, I guess you brought your donuts, huh, Selma?
Yes, indeed.
Selma? You do make the lightest donuts.
Sam, could you take these while I hang up my coat?
What the heck is going on out there? What are you doing in there?
Taking this booth inside where it belongs.
Well, there's no room for it in the store.
It's going to be too cold out here.
Then everybody will vote faster so they can go inside for coffee and refreshments.
Look, I told Sam I wanted
What authority have you got to tell anybody anything?
this authority.
Look, Curly, don't point that phony thing at me. I outbad you.
Wake up, Mr. Ducey! Okay, Billy Joe. 0 hour. Start waking them up. Everybody up! Come on, time to vote! Come on, Mr. and Mrs. Larrabee, get up! Come on, everybody! Come on! Wake them up! We gotta win! We gotta win! Time to get up and vote!
lights going on all over town.
Yeah, whistle for Gerber's Crossing. We got 4 more voters to pick up there.
What gives you the right to order us around?
This. You want me to report you to the governor?
Better get the ballots out, Sam. They're starting to line up.
11:25, right on schedule.
It's 11:38. We'll be whistling from Millbank's farm in about a minute.
Yeah, we're 2 minutes behind schedule. We still got a lot of voters to pick up.
How many we got in the coach so far, Floyd?
Oh, 18, not counting Filbert Burner's cow.
What'd you let him bring his cow along for?
We had to. He wouldn't come without her. He had a choice between voting and milking.
Line's getting longer. It'll be halfway around the store by the time the cannonball gets here.
If it gets here.
It'll get here.
Remember what happened last election? Charlie and Floyd were so busy arguing politics, they didn't even notice that the coach and tender parted company.
I don't think they'll make the same stupid mistake 2 years in a row.
He's a good man.
Says who?
Says me.
Oh, what do you know?
Well, I know he's a good man. I'll leave it to Joe. What do you think? I think we lost the coach. Easy, Charlie, easy.
Fred just finished smoking this ham, the finest ham you ever did. Honest, here we are. Help yourself, folks. There's plenty.
Donuts, donuts, donut, anybody? Floyd?
Watch it, Floyd. You could hurt somebody real bad with one of them things.
Thanks, Filbert. You're the last one to vote.
Sure?
Positive, I checked. Folks, at exactly 18 minutes to 1, Hooterville's completed its voting 100%.
Well, Sam, all we have to do is tally up the votes and phone the results to the state capitol.
Wonder how Crabwell Corners is doing.
How's things in Crabwell Corners, Tad?
Pretty good, Mr. Carson, except the voting machine's broken down a couple of times. My pop sent me over to see how you're doing here.
All over but the counting. What odds was your father laying, Tad?
2 to 1.
That means he owes me 38 cents.
Are you sure?
It's the third time I counted them. 142 ballots and 143 registered voters.
Well, check the registration book and see who didn't vote. Well, who is it?
The genial manager of the Shady Rest Hotel.
Well, there goes a 20-year record.
Yeah, Crabwell Corners has finally beaten us.
Hello? Collect.
Let me talk to Uncle Joe.
Okay, we'll accept the charges.
Uncle Joe, where are you?
I'm at the voting place over here in Crabwell Corners, rubbing in our victory. Yeah, the voting machine broke down again. There's 8 people still waiting to vote. Hey, you ought to see. They got the machine all apart. Springs, gears, bolts all over the floor.
Uncle Joe, how long is it going to take him to fix it?
Oh, about an hour, but that don't make no difference. We've had our tally in for... What?
You didn't vote.
I didn't?
No, you didn't. And now you better get back here and vote before that machine's fixed. Or else you'd better put in an application to be the genial manager of the Crabwell Corners Hotel.
Morning, everybody.
Uncle Joe. It's 10 after 6.
Any coffee?
What took you so long?
Had to walk back
Why did you even bother?
so I could vote. Where's Sam?
He's in the back asleep.
I'll wake him up.
Let him sleep. You can vote later.
Well, if I vote now, we can still beat Crabwell Corners. They won't have their voting machine fixed until noon. They had to send all the way to the county seat for a cycloid gear.
A what?
Here. One of these.
Uncle Joe, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Uncle Joe.
Watch it, Kate. You're curling my badge.
Oh. What badge?
How do you like that? Somebody swiped it.
It just goes to show you can't trust anybody.
Peoticoat Junction. This has been a Filmways presentation.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Peoticoat Junction.
Three cans beans. What else, Kate?
Let's see now. Oh, yeah. Billy Joe needs a package of bobby pins.
How about Bobby Joe? She need a package of Billy pins? I've been waiting for 2 months for you to order them so I could pull that on you.
You should have waited longer.
Yeah, I guess it could have stood a little aging. Anything else, Kate?
I don't know. Betty Joe, you need anything?
Just these.
Dog food.
But what do we need this for? He doesn't eat dog food. He eats what we eat.
We need the labels for the contest.
What contest is that?
You send in a picture of your dog with 3 labels, and the winning dog gets to make a commercial for Trail Wagon Dog Food. And they'll pay him $500.
$500? Say.
Just a second. How much are they?
15 cents piece.
Put them back on the shelf.
Gee, Mom, I know our dog can win.
Betty Joe, with a prize like that, thousands of people are going to be entering their dogs. Blue ribbon winners, pedigrees.
None like him.
That's for sure.
Please, there isn't much time. We've got to take the picture, get it developed, and mail it before tomorrow night.
I'm sorry, Betty Joe. There are too many things we need without spending 15 cents on a can of dog food.
How about a nickel?
Sam, I really
For the
don't...
label. I'll use the dog food on my dog.
Come on, boy, give me a big smile. Oh, Betty Jo, can't you even get him to smile?
I'm having enough trouble getting him to sit up.
How do you expect a dog to smile?
I don't know, but he has to. The contest is for a happy dog. Oh, my arms are getting tired. Hey! Oh, come back here while we get a picture of him.
I thought this contest was for dogs, not fish. Well, fish would have a better chance of winning a good-looking dog contest than him. He couldn't even win a good-looking fish contest. See, some dogs just can't stand to hear the undervarnished truth.
Uncle Joe, you're always running him down. That's right. You're going to give him an inferiority complex.
Well, look, some dogs has got it and some dogs ain't. And it only takes one look to see that he's a first-class ain't.
He's got a cute personality.
Yeah, and he's going to win the contest.
Don't tell me you girls are really going to send in his picture.
We certainly are.
Just a waste of good film.
Come on, let's start. Come on, boy. Come on, boy. Come on.
I hope they turned out all right, Henry. We're going to send him into a contest.
Oh, this one's a prize winner for sure, Billy Joe. If I was one of the judges, I wouldn't bother to look at another picture.
Bobby Joe is a pretty good photographer.
Well, she had a pretty good subject to work with.
Yeah, he is pretty cute.
He? I'm a little nearsighted, but even I can tell this isn't a he.
Let me see that. Well, this is me.
Yeah.
This must have been left on the roll from last year. Weren't there any pictures of the dog on the roll?
I didn't notice.
Here, let me see those. Oh, here's a good one.
I like the first one better.
Well, I don't think it would do any good to send my picture into a dog food contest.
Oh, you mean that contest. I'm entering my collie. Now, there's a dog.
Oh, he's all right as far as collies go, but our dog's real doggy dog. Well, I've got to get this in the mail.
Oh, you ought to put it between a couple of pieces of cardboard so it doesn't get bent.
Oh, but I haven't got time to go home.
Oh, I'll be glad to cut your piece.
Oh, will you?
Sure, Billy Joe. I'd do anything for you.
Oh, good. Put a stamp on it, too.
Allow me.
Goodbye, Henry.
And I'm happy to inform you that your dog has been selected as one of the 5 finalists in our contest. I'll be leaving Hollywood on the 12th to make screen tests of the 5 dogs. Unless I hear to the contrary, I'll be arriving in your town on Wednesday. Very truly yours, etc. I'll send the same letter to Betty Jo Bradley, Bobby Joe Bradley, and Billy Joe Bradley, Shady Rest Hotel, Hooterville. Tell them I'll arrive on Friday.
Where are you? Oh, I didn't see you. Oh, I'm so excited. We won. Bobby Joe, Billy Joe. Our dog won the contest. Oh, you wonderful dog. Oh, I just knew he would. I just knew it. Oh. Don't squeeze him so hard.
Someone please tell me what's going on.
The dog was named as one of the 5 finalists in the dog food contest.
Those other 4 dogs haven't got a chance. Nope, our dog's gonna win and make the commercial and win the $500. Oh, don't squeeze him so hard.
Him win $500.
Well, I must admit, I didn't think he had a chance.
That's just because you ain't got no confidence in him. I knew right from the start he was a winner. That's why I made the girls enter him.
You made us enter him.
Big of you to give me the credit.
Uncle Joe, you said it was a waste of film to take his picture.
Oh, well, that was a reverse of psychology. If I'd have told you to send in the picture, you wouldn't have done it.
Uncle Joe.
There's no need to thank me, Kate. I'd have done the same thing for any dog the girls own.
I just wish the rest of Uncle Joe worked as fast as his mind.
What is that, Kate?
I said you got a fast mind. Uncle Joe, you mind giving me a hand turning a couple of mattresses? I want to get the rooms ready for Mr. Talbot and this cameraman before they get here tomorrow.
As soon as I finish doing this,
You mind telling me what you're doing?
converting the rooms into suites.
Any special reason?
Yeah, so we can hike the rates.
What for?
Kate, as soon as the dog becomes a big television star, there's going to be crowds of tourists breaking down our doors to see the spot where I first discovered him.
You? Uncle Joe, aren't you getting a little ahead of yourself? Unless the dog wins the finals and does the commercial, he won't be on television.
Oh, he'll win with me managing him.
Oh, you're managing him. Did you get him to sign a contract?
Of course not. But he did give me a verbal wag of the tail on the deal. Kate, with me managing his career, it won't be no time at all until he's as famous as that other dog star, Lasso.
Lassie.
Yeah. He'll be swimming in his own swimming pool, eating porterhouse steaks for breakfast, putting his paw prints in Grauman's chow mein.
And then getting back in his swimming pool to wash the chow mein off his paws.
Kate.
Let's turn the mattresses.
Hey, sit up. Sit up. You're not listening. Now sit up like I told you. Sit up. Sit up. Sit up like this. No. Sit up. Sit up.
Girls.
Now this one here is a sure crowd pleaser. It's called roll over. Now when I give you the command to roll over, all you gotta do is this. Now you try it. Roll over. Roll over.
What's Uncle Joe trying to do, Mom?
Make the dog into another lasso.
Roll over. Roll over. I wonder if I'm not wasting my time trying to make a star out of you.
We weren't expecting you till later today, Mr. Talbot.
My cameraman and I made good connections.
I wouldn't call that cannonball a good connection.
We're putting you in Suite A, Mr. Talbot.
Oh, I don't need a suite.
Oh, well, in that case, we'll put you in room 1. Mr. Johnson, would you like to be in Suite B or room 2?
Anything. We'll put him in room 2. He probably wants to be next to Mr. Talbot.
By the way, where's the pooch?
Oh, he's down at the high school waiting for the girls.
Yeah, he does that every day. I taught him to protect them.
From his picture, he looks like he'd be able to do that.
He does?
Oh, he's a beautiful animal. You're just wasting your film screen testing them other 4 Mongols.
Uncle Joe is always worried about people wasting film. Look, if you gentlemen would like to wash up, lunch will be ready soon.
Bathroom's to the head of the stairs.
After lunch, would it be all right if we looked around to see where we might shoot this test?
Don't make no difference where you shoot it with this dog in the picture. He can keep you entertained for hours with his tricks.
Show Mr. Talbot how he rolls over.
No, I'm afraid the chicken coop is not the background we're looking for, Mr. Carson.
Then how about one of them artistic shots? Underneath a cannonball while she's barreling along. You can hang onto the brake rod with one hand, shoot the picture with the other.
Mr. Carson.
Uncle Joe, why don't you let Mr. Talbot make up his own mind?
I'm just trying to give him the benefit of my years of experience as a motion picture producer. Yeah, I produced a film of the Elks Picnic for the last 5 years.
You're kidding.
Nope. Everybody said the sack race was one of the greatest sequences ever filmed. I'll be glad to show it to you if I can get Lem Wallace to loan me his 8 milligram projector.
8 milligram?
Shall we continue the tour?
Yes, all right. But, really, I think the kitchen would be the ideal place to shoot the test.
Oh.
Now, you say the dog won't be back here until after school is out?
Oh, that's right. Between 3 and 3:30, depending on the cannonball.
Well, fine. It gives me a chance to write a little commercial scene for us to shoot.
I'll be glad to help you, Mr. Talbot. I've had a lot of experience in the advertising field.
Thank you, Mr. Carson, but I wouldn't feel right if I had to pick your brain.
Wonder how he meant that. downstairs.
What's the matter?
Train's coming in. You're going to meet your new dog commercial star.
Oh.
Mr. Talbot's here. Mr. Talbot, Mr. Johnson, I'd like you to meet my daughters. This is Betty Jo.
Kate.
And this...
All they want to meet's the dog. There he is, gentlemen. Leaves you kind of speechless, don't he?
Where's the collie?
Oh, well, that's mostly in the back part of it.
No, the collie. The collie. The dog in the picture. Here, this dog.
Why, that looks like Henry Brewster's collie.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
Henry must have put his picture in our envelope.
And Henry Brewster's dog is the winner, right?
Right.
That mutt?
Does this mean our dog's not going to get a screen test?
We ain't going to get a chance at the $500?
I'm sorry, folks.
Is this a private wake, or can anybody get in on it?
This never would have happened if you girls would listen to me, not send in this has-been's picture.
You reversing your psychology again?
I didn't expect it to work in the first place. Never has.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sit down, Mr. Talbot. You'll have to excuse the girls. They're a little disappointed about the dog.
He could have won.
Yeah, and he's cute, and he's smart, and he's...
I think so, too.
And another thing... You do?
Sure. That's why I've decided to make a test of your dog anyway.
You mean our star's back in the contest?
Well, no, but I've got an idea for a different kind of commercial, and, well, if the sponsor likes the test, I think we might want your dog for a whole series.
A whole series? Oh, that's wonderful!
How about that, Uncle Joe?
Mr. Talbot, as the dog's manager, we've got a little negotiating to do. How much you figuring on paying to be in these commercials?
Well, in the past, we've paid $100 a day to use the dog, but I want to use the whole family in these commercials.
Us acting on television?
Yeah, but I don't want you to act. I want you to be yourselves. You see, my idea is to show a real family in the way they love and care for their pet. Well, will you do it?
Now, hold on. We got a little more negotiating to do. How much you figuring on paying Kate and the girls?
Well, what would you say?
Oh, well, if you pay a dog $100 a day, Kate ought to be worth at least $20.
Thank you.
10 for the girls, each.
Look, let's not quibble, Mr. Carson. If the sponsor likes the test, I think I can make a deal for $350 a day for the dog and the family.
$350?
If I'd have started higher, he'd have gone lower. That reverse psychology always works.
Now, girls, I've typed up these copies of a sample commercial. Now, this is the idea. You're working in the kitchen, okay? You look up and you see the camera. You act surprised if you didn't know it was there. You say hello, and then you introduce your daughters.
Hey, Chief.
Excuse me, why don't you all study your lines, huh?
Shall we practice?
What's going on here?
Mr. Talbot, where do you think I ought to put this?
Well, I think outside would be a dandy place.
I think it ought to be inside, so when people look at Kate and the girls, they'll know where it's coming from. When I directed the El Sac race...
Mr. Carson, I have directed hundreds and hundreds of commercials, and I think I know what I'm doing.
Well, if you ain't sure, I'd be glad to give you the benefit of my movie-making experience.
I'll be very happy to call on you if I ever make an 8-milligram picture.
And these are my daughters. Billy Jo.
Hello.
Bobby Jo.
Cut. In all the Elks picnics I've directed, I've never seen such bad acting.
What's wrong?
Let's start from the beginning. You're supposed to walk across the kitchen,
Yeah.
see the camera,
Yeah.
and act surprised.
Yeah.
Now, do you think you can do that?
Well, I can try. Now?
Now.
Oh, I didn't know you were there.
You call that walking?
That's the way I always do it.
Give it more meaning. Act more surprised.
Okay, now, Artie, let's make a sound check, huh?
Right.
All right. Okay, Artie, we hot?
It's hot, Chief.
Good. Now, folks, there's nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. Microphone, camera. Nothing. Just relax. Now, we start standing where you are, Mrs. Bradley. You walk across the room, you stop right on that chalk mark, but don't look down at it. Don't look down. Look into the camera and say your first line. Now, shall we try? All right, fine. Can you see everything?
Yep.
You got a good shot?
Well, now, if I was doing it...
Aren't there any sack races going on today, Mr. Carson? May I? Oh, yeah. Thank you. All right, folks, just a rehearsal. Now, let's start it alive, alive, alive. Action.
Oh, I didn't know you were there. Welcome to the Shady Rest Hotel. I'm Kate Bradley, and these are my daughters. Billy Joe. Ooh, hello there. Bobby Joe.
Hello, everybody out there in television land. Mwah!
I put that in to give it a television feeling.
And my youngest, Betty Joe.
Hi.
No. Cut. Mrs. Bradley. Aren't we overdoing it just a little?
Yeah, but Uncle Joe said that that's the way we should...
Uncle Joe.
Yeah, Kate, you were overacting.
But you showed us how.
Maybe I better show you again.
Will you stay out of this? Now, look, Mrs. Bradley, we'll have to work a little bit on the introductions. Why don't we cut to the spot where you go to the cupboard, get out the dog food, and put it down for the dog?
You can't do that.
Why not?
We don't have any of that kind of dog food in the house.
That's right. We never keep it in the house.
You sent in 3 labels with the picture.
Oh, Mr. Drucker cut them off the cans and gave them to me.
No problem, Chief. We can,
You're right, Artie. No problem at all. We'll send out for some dog food. Uncle Joe, how would you like to be assistant director on this picture?
You mean you want me to take over while you're going to Hooterville and get the dog?
No. You've got it wrong, Uncle Joe. You're the assistant director. I'm the director. You go to Hooterville for the dog food. Uncle Joe, the show must go on. Go. You see, Artie, you just have to use your head. Now, I'll tell you where I want to put the dog. Where's the dog?
I don't know.
Here, boy. Here, boy. Hip. Where's the dog?
He went into Hooterville.
With his manager. Billy Joe, you set the table. Bobby Joe, you take in the bread and butter.
Yes, ma'am.
And Betty Joe, you hand me the platter for the chicken.
When are you going to feed the dog?
Right now.
Cut. Very, very good, girls. Very good. Now, Mrs. Bradley, we're going to dolly in and get a close-up of you holding the can of dog food.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the dog comes back, we're going to shoot you.
What?
Photograph you. We'll photograph you dishing out the food to the dog and feeding him. Okay? Now, let's see how it looks when you hold up the food.
All right.
Oh, no, Mrs. Bradley. No. The label must show.
The least you can do is carry the bag. You didn't help with the pumping. You do everything I told you, and in no time at all, we'll be banking $350 a day. Here you are, Mr. Talbot. Last 3 cans Sam had on the shelf.
Thank you.
He took the labels off and sent them in with a pitcher.
Oh, well, that's all right. We just happen to have a couple of cans with us. Thank you. Now, folks, let's get this finished. Now, girls, you stand close to your mother. You stand around her as she opens up a can of dog food.
Is that where I say the words about how good it is and everything?
Yeah, that's right. You see, you open up the dog food, you put it in a dish, then you call the dog. You put the dish down on the ground, and we'll move in for a close-up of the dog while he eats the food. You understand?
Let's shoot it.
All right, let's shoot it. All right, folks, this one's for the money.
contains everything that's good for your dog. You hungry?
I taught him that trick.
All dogs love the meaty smell and good taste of trail wagon dog food. Right, boy? Go ahead and eat it. It's good for you.
Cut. What's the matter with the dog? Why won't he eat his supper?
He probably ain't hungry.
It's not that at all. No self-respecting dog would eat this.
What's wrong with it?
Smell it.
Smells all right to me.
Well, it didn't to me, and it didn't to the dog, and it probably tastes even worse.
Well, maybe it's just that one can. Artie, give me the other can. Where is it?
Hey, boss. Right there.
Here, boy. Mr. Talbot, I couldn't tell folks to feed this to their dogs for $350,000 a day.
Now, hold on, Kate. There's nothing wrong with that. That tastes wonderful. Mr. Talbot, I got a great idea for a commercial. You won't even need a dog. I'll do it for $50. Here, look at this. That's just yummy, folks. Folks, if trail wagon dog food's good enough for human beings, it's good enough for your dog.
Pay attention. A star's being born.
Peoticoat Junction. This has been a Filmways presentation.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Peoticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Peoticoat Junction.
Thanks. Girls, train's in. Onions are the most unhappy vegetable.
We having stew for supper, Mom?
Well, depends on Uncle Joe. If he remembered to buy meat, we're having stew. If he didn't, we're having vegetable soup.
How could he forget to buy meat?
Well, you know Uncle Joe.
Yeah, we'd better hunt for some eggs for an omelet. Come on, Billy Joe. Seems to me you ought to have more confidence in Uncle Joe. If he said he was going to buy the meat, then he bought it.
Come on, you girls. There's no good.
That sure is a stubborn hunk of stew meat you got there, Joe.
Move, you girls. There's a single black.
Ah, quit showing off.
Want to help you fellas are?
Anytime, Joe.
Move, you cantankerous peasants.
Try a little tenderness, Joe.
Go around the other end and push.
Instead of standing there making stupid suggestions, why don't you give a fella a hand?
Yeah, Charlie, why don't we?
Because it's more fun to stand here and make stupid suggestions.
Come on, get at it.
That's the ticket, Joe.
Kate sends you to the store for something, Joe. You don't mess around, do you?
What's the matter with him? Maybe he smells something.
Oh, no, not another skunk.
You know something, Joe? This is the first time I've ever been up close to a real live buffalo. Can't say I'm enjoying the experience.
Now I know why the Indian on the front side of the nickel's got that pained expression on his face.
Kate don't know you bought this critter, does she, Joe?
No.
Don't you think you ought to warn her?
Oh, I ain't scared of Kate.
I'm glad to hear it. Oh, hi, Kate.
Now, Kate, how you explain?
For somebody who ain't scared of somebody, he sure does shy at nobody.
Very funny. Come on.
Well, see you later, Joe.
Kate, I got a surprise for you. Oh, the minute I mention surprise, she's going to expect something. Maybe it'd be a good idea to make a guessing game out of it. Kate, guess who bought a buffalo? Oh, she'd know right away it was me. Maybe the best idea would be to take you back and let Charlie and Floyd mind you for a while.
Uncle Joe, is that you?
Yeah. You wait here. How are you, Kate?
I'm fine.
What's for supper?
Stew, if you remember to bring the meat.
Meat? Oh, sure, I remember.
Well, where is it?
It's outside.
Well, bring it in so we can get it in the pot.
I don't think this meat'll fit into any pot we've got. See, I bought a mite more than you figured on.
Well, how much is a mite more than I figured on?
About 1,100 pounds.
1,100 pounds?
You see, the government had this sale on, and
I didn't know the government sold meat.
Yeah, they...
Sale or no sale, you shouldn't have bought so much. We don't have a deep freeze, it'll spoil.
Oh, you don't need to worry about that. It'll keep fine the way it is. You see, it's still in the original package.
What are you talking about?
Kate, I didn't hear anything. Okay.
Out of my way.
Out
of my way.
She should have screamed by now. Nice looking animal, ain't it? It's a buffalo.
A buffalo.
Real genuine article.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. If there's one thing we don't need around here, it's a phony buffalo.
I wish you wouldn't take it this way.
What way?
Whatever way you're going to take it.
I'm not going to take it anyway. You are back.
But I can't. The government man says that all sales are final.
What?
You know, they don't run the government like a department store. Sell you a buffalo, let you bring it home for a few days and try it out.
Hi, Uncle Joe. Did you get the meat?
He sure did.
I told you Uncle Joe would come through. Where is it?
Outside. Any questions?
I'll start the omelet.
Poor child. She'll probably have nightmares. Of all the silly things.
What's the matter with Betty Jo? She just said there was...
It's outside.
It's a buffalo.
Shook him up pretty good.
The way everybody's acting around here, you'd think I'd done something foolish.
The thought had crossed my mind.
Well, there ain't nothing foolish about it. That buffalo's going to make us rich. We'll be rolling in the green stuff. We'll be millionaires.
Uncle Joe, Oh, what's the use?
Maybe this money order will change your mind.
Money order? Pay to the order of the Shady Rest Hunting Lodge.
Has a nice gamey sound, don't it? Read on.
The sum of $50. Who sent this to you?
His lordship.
Whose lordship?
Lord Faversham's lordship. That's a down payment on a week of buffalo hunting at $25 a day, including room, board, and guide. The skinning and ammunition's extra.
I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
Maybe this newspaper article will clear things up for you.
Lord Faversham, who has just returned from an African safari, told reporters that he has hunted every type of big game except the American buffalo.
And when I saw that,
You sat right down and wrote him a letter telling him about the great buffalo hunting at the Shady Rest Hunting Lodge.
Yeah. How'd you know that?
Well, what else could you do since you'd already ordered the buffalo?
Well, yeah. How'd you know that?
Just a wild guess.
Well, it don't matter. The thing is that once word gets around that a famous man like Lord Faversham's hunted here, why, sportsmen from all over the world would gather here. We'll have standing room only at $25 a day. We'll make millions.
Uncle Joe, I want you to send this back.
But I can't. Lord Faversham's on his way. He's due to arrive here tomorrow.
Oh, that's too bad.
Huh?
Because you and the buffalo are leaving tonight.
But, Kate, some women just don't understand big business.
How do we look? Like the Pixley players in the last act of The Return of Hiawatha.
Hey, where's your costume, Mom?
She wouldn't wear it. She didn't want to help cooperate to make this a real Wild West welcome for Lord Faversham.
I am too cooperating. I could have sent him a telegram stopping him from coming. And I'll let you decorate the lobby with...
The train's coming. Oh, what are we going to do when his lordship gets here?
Now, just act natural. Curtsy. Where's Betty? Where's Betty? Where's Betty?
Betty!
Betty!
Betty! Right here.
What have you done to that critter?
Just spruced him up. Curry combed him a little. And we sprayed some of your aftershave lotion on him, too. He looks real nice.
Well, he ain't supposed to look nice. He's supposed to look like a real wild buffalo. Take him over under that water tower and let him roll in the mud. Making a household pet out of him.
We like him. Come on, Bill.
Well, Cannonball's just about here.
Okay. Girls, come over here. Billy Joe, Bobby Joe. Now, Billy, you stay here. Bobby, you stand there. No, let's not get excited. No, Billy, you stand over here. Bobby, you stand over here. Now, keep calm. In case you come over here and... I'm bleeding.
You winged the water tower.
Uncle Joe, the buffalo got away.
What?
The shot scared him and he bolted.
Which way did he go?
That way. No, there he goes.
Come on, everybody, after him.
Oh, wait for me. There he goes. He's coming back.
Catch him.
I got his tail.
That's my hat.
This way.
Help! I fell in a patch of brambles.
Well, when Uncle Joe said a Wild West welcome, I guess he wasn't kidding. Although I don't think the West was ever quite this wild. Sorry you had to carry your bags up by yourself, but as I explained, Uncle Joe and the
Oh,
girls...
it's quite all right. I'm used to roughing it. I do hope they get their buffalo. Nothing like the thrill of the hunt.
It was pretty thrilling.
Well, there you are.
Oh, thanks. My, you write a pretty hand. You know, you're the first lordship we ever had stay at the Shady Rest.
I'm honored.
The Earl of Wintergreen does come and stay occasionally, though.
The Earl of...
Well, that's just a nickname. He's a traveling salesman for a liniment company. His real name's Earl Gilby.
Yes.
Would you like a cup of tea? I know that's your national drink.
Oh, no, thank you. Mr. Smoot served some en route. You know, it was dashed hospitable. He stopped the train and drew the hot water right out of the locomotive boiler. It was rather good. Had a smoky taste.
Well, If there's anything you want, you just ask for it because we want to make your stay here as enjoyable as we can.
Well, I'm sure it will be. Charming place. Not at all what I expected from Mr. Carson's letter.
Oh?
You must have done quite a lot of rehabilitation to this place since he wrote. Disposed of the peeling wallpaper, carpeted the bare floors, installed electricity, and sent the Indians packing.
Indians?
Yes, you know those savages who used to squat on your front porch weaving blankets.
Oh, those Indians.
Tell me, is that some of their work, this blanket?
Kate, we just... Is this? Your lordship. I'm Buffalo Joe Carson. You've met my niece, Buffalo Kate Bradley. These here are her daughters. That's Buffalo Betty. Buffalo Billy.
How?
Buffalo Bobby.
Ugh.
Charlie, I hope you bagged your buffalo.
The one that was running around down by the water tower.
Oh, no, he got away. Happens to even the most experienced guides.
I say, what's that?
Buffalo. After him, girls.
Extraordinary. First there's one at the train stop and then another one right here at the lodge.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Just as you said in your letter.
I wish I'd seen that letter.
I must say I thought you were exaggerating.
Uncle Joe, exaggerate. I sure do wish those Indians had come back.
Indians?
Mm-hmm. The blanket weavers. I missed them squatting around the front door.
Oh. Well, they probably went for more wool.
To pull over our eyes?
Yeah. Well, you know, I really am looking forward to a week of the most wonderful hunting. I should like to shoot 3 or 4 buffalo.
Well, you may have to settle for just one.
Is that the limit?
No. Uncle Joe's letter writing. That's the limit. Uncle Joe, where you been? I've been worried sick. Your bed wasn't slept in and...
Oh, I've been out all night looking for that dang buffalo.
No sign of him?
No. Thought I spotted him out in the middle of a field, but it was Les Williams' bull. Just barely made it over the fence. Oh, darn barbed wire. Hey, if I don't find that buffalo, we're going to be out of business before we get started.
Don't include me in this. It was your idea.
Now, that's all the thanks I get for trying to make you a wealthy woman.
Now, I appreciate that, Uncle Joe, but don't you see...
Kate, don't preach to me. Lord Faversham's going to be down in a minute, and I got to figure out something pretty good to tell him.
How about the truth?
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, Kate. I'll think of something.
It's only 7 o'clock in the morning.
And I say it's too late. Them buffalo herds come down from the mountains about sunrise, graze a while, and then go back up where they came from. If you don't get them early, you don't get them.
Mr. Carson, I have hunted wild game all over the world.
Lord Faversham, you're paying for room, board, and guide, right?
Right. Ammunition and skinning, extra.
Yeah. Well, I'm the guide you're paying for. And I say if you don't get them early in the morning, you don't get them. You might just as well go back to bed. I'll see you tomorrow.
Mr. Carson? Carson!
What the Sam Hill?
Good morning, Mr. Carson.
Morning. It's 4:45. It's more like the middle of the night.
Well, you see, I remember what you told me yesterday. If you don't get them early, you don't get them at all. So should we go and get them, old boy?
Hey, just a second. Too bad.
What's the matter?
It winds from the southeast.
What difference does that make?
You see, you don't know the first thing about buffalo hunting. I'll see you tomorrow.
Would you like another game, Your Lordship?
No, thank you. 6 is enough.
Would you like some more pine tea?
No, nothing, Mrs. Bradley, thank you. Tell me, have you seen Mr. Carson lately?
No, he's been out scouting the buffalo for you.
Oh, really? Well, frankly, I think he's stalling. Has been for 3 days. And I don't mind telling you that I'm jolly well fed up. If and when you see Mr. Carson, I'll thank you to inform him that I went to a great deal of trouble and expense to come out here to hunt, based on his lavish representations that he told me about in his letter, which I intend to turn over to my lawyer as evidence when I sue for misrepresentation and fraud. I'm sorry to be so unpleasant. Good night.
Lordship,
Can you really sue Uncle Joe?
I suppose so.
Boy, does this put us in a spot.
What are we going to do now, Mom? Let Lord Faversham sue Uncle Joe? Or let Uncle Joe find out we've caught the buffalo and we've been hiding him?
So you've been hiding. Letting me tramp the fields all day, making a fool out of myself.
Now, if you'll just simmer down, we can explain everything.
What is there to explain? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? You didn't want me to succeed in the hunting business because you was afraid some other hunting lodge would hire me away and you'd lose me and my money-making ideas.
That's not the reason at all, and stop shaking your chicken leg at me.
Then what other reason could there be?
A very good one. We've become attached to that old buffalo, and we don't want Lord Faversham to shoot him. So we're going to keep him.
Look, this is a hunting lodge, not a home for old buffaloes.
Lord Faversham just wants to kill him so he can say he shot a buffalo. He doesn't even want the meat.
Poor old thing.
The poor old thing? What about this poor old thing? What do you want me to do, get sued? Maybe go to jail if I couldn't pay if I lost?
Of course not.
Then you'd better tell me where you hid the buffalo.
Oh, Mom, isn't there any other way?
We don't want Lord Faversham to shoot our buffalo.
Well, maybe he'll miss.
He's a crack shot.
Maybe we ought to hide his gun? Mom, can't you think of anything?
I have been trying to think of something, but I keep coming up blank. Hey, hold on. I think I just thought of what I was trying to think of.
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. Joe, you'll kill more buffaloes with your singing than his lordship will with them blank cottages. You just leave the buffalo hunting to me. Keep an eye out for where we're supposed to stop.
You know, there was no need for your uncle to load my gun. I'm perfectly capable of loading it myself.
Yes, well, I guess he just wanted to make sure you got the right ammunition.
Oh, yeah, duty of the guide and all that, I suppose. Well, tell me, did your early pioneers really hunt buffalo this way? I mean, from a railroad train?
Oh, yes. Of course, I didn't experience this personally, but I've seen pictures of it in books.
Here you are, your lordship. You're all loaded. Now keep your eye peeled, because we're getting into the heart of the buffalo country. Say, if you don't spot him, our trained buffalo dog here will.
I'll sit across the aisle so as to give your lordship plenty of shooting room.
By Jove, I think he spotted one.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
Get him in your sights and blast him.
You better open the window first.
I missed.
No, you didn't. Buffalo hides is thicker than most. It takes longer for the bullet to get through to him. He'll lie down and roll over pretty soon.
Lie down and roll over.
There he goes.
Joe.
Where are you going?
Well, I'm going to fetch the blighter.
Oh, no need for that. We'll send one of the native guides back for him.
Steady.
Hurry, your lordship.
Come on, Buffalo. We gotta move down the track. Come on. That's good.
Trained buffalo dog smelled out another one.
Oh, good.
By Jove, what a shot.
Fire!
Lie down. Lie down.
Well, there's another one gone to glory.
By Jove, this is jolly good sport. I'll fetch it.
Oh, that one we got to leave for the Indians, according to the Buffalo Treaty, 1892.
What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm so clumsy.
Well, I've lost count. How many times has he shot our buffalo?
6. Oh, I wish he'd quit. I'm pooped. Look, Buff, will you lie down when you hear the shot?
Oh, you don't have to tell him. He's learning to do it by himself.
Now. You got him. Congratulations. He's dead or nice duty. Come back here, you miserable hound.
Get out of here! Come back here! You bet!
Joe, he's running away. And so are your daughters. Your daughters? Mr. Carson, I think an explanation is in order.
Okay, let's hear it. Well, your lordship, I guess you'll be glad to get back to old England, or as you fellas say, Old Bailey.
Well, hardly. You see, Old Bailey is the first step to prison.
Yes, and if his lordship hadn't been so forgiven, that's where you'd be right now. In Hooterville's Old Bailey.
Well, no hard feelings. After all, I did get what I came for, an American buffalo. A magnificent trophy. The chaps in the club will be green with envy.
Our poor buffalo. It's cruel. It's terrible.
For goodness sake, stop bawling. You got a standing offer from his lordship. If you ever get to England, he'll take you to the zoo, and you can look at him all you want.
Uh-oh. Joe, give us a hand!
Hold him! Get that buffalo dog away from him!
He got away!
Come on, let's get him.
There's only one thing wilder than a Wild West welcome, and that's a Wild West goodbye.
Peoticoat Junction. This has been a Filmways presentation.